Hello, and welcome to the Alpha Male Podcast, the podcast where we talk about what it means to be an alpha male the right way, with God at the center, made in His very image, strong, dominant, and in control. We don't apologize for it. Men, I'll plug in the bio. If you want to skip it, you've heard it before, just don't want to listen, you can skip around 3 minutes and 45 seconds from where it starts. First and foremost, I am a servant of God, preacher, a fisher of men. God is number one in my life, and everything that I do in this podcast is no different, and I don't apologize for that. A little bit about me in the background. I grew up, I guess what you would consider a heathen. Didn't grow up a Christian, but I grew up in the southeastern United States, what most would consider very poor. Hunting and fishing and shooting. Joined the Marine Corps at 17, did a couple of combat tours in Iraq. After my combat tours in Iraq, I was an urban warfare instructor for the United States Marine Corps under Mojave Viper. I also served in law enforcement for several years in LAPD. I worked patrol assignments and more specialized assignments, where by God's grace, He got me through some nasty places in this world, war zones, and some of the nastiest streets in the country. Not because I am better, because God chose to have mercy on me and had a purpose for me, and I'm thankful for that. After my time in law enforcement, I was a private contractor for federal government, for a 3-letter government agency I won't specify, doing private contracting work. I'm very much involved in guns and gunfighting. I also served in the U.S. Army, both full-time and part-time National Guard. I should say my primary MOS is in both branches of the military or infantry, as of one sort or another. Specialized infantry in the Marine Corps and an MOS that no longer exists. I started competition shooting even before I joined the Marine Corps at 17. I won my first gold medal even before I joined the Marine Corps at 17. I've been blessed by God with the talents He's given me to win more shooting competitions than I can remember. I've won most of my competitions in rifle and pistol, but I've also competed in archery and shotgun and even muzzleloader, knife throwing, hatchet throwing. I've competed in all that. I've also been a professional big game hunter and guide. Like I said, I grew up hunting and fishing and shooting. I've done it to put meat on the table because I like to put food on the table with the talents God's given me. I don't apologize for that. I've done it as a professional hunter and guide. I've slain all manner of beast and guided for all manner of beast. Bear and wolf and elk and deer, mule deer, whitetail deer. I've slain ram and fallow deer and countless animals. And I don't apologize for that either. FBI certified, firearms instructor, NRA, and a bunch of other 3-letter government agency certifications. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Psalm 144. I've been blessed to be the commander of a tactical team, an SRT, special response team, in a large metropolitan area, where our primary job was to stop active shooters. But again, first and foremost, I'm a servant of God, called by God to share the good news, preacher, a fisher of men. With that, we will roll into the day's topic. With that, let's get into today's topic. You may remember a movie came out quite a while ago called The Matrix. I know they've made a lot, and I think one just came out. I'm not talking about that one. Don't really have any intentions to see that one. I'm talking about the original movie, The Matrix. And that movie really kind of made popular like the ultra action, slow motion kind of fighting and gunfighting scenes. But perhaps the most iconic part of that movie, that classic red pill, blue pill moment. where the character in that movie had to choose whether he wanted to know the truth, whether he wanted to wake up, or whether he wanted to stay in this fake constructed world that was distracting and more pleasurable, but it wasn't true. And I think that's the part of the movie that really made it a great movie. The part that really made an impression, made an impact. And I think that resonates with many of us today because we look around at this world that's so fake, this culture that's so removed from the truth, from reality. And we see it. So many people today just walk around like blindless zombies. Their face in a smartphone, scrolling up and down, wasting their time here on Earth on things, on a fake constructed world. Reality TV where it's about as fake as you can get. People boil a whole day down to a small snippet. Social media things so they can get likes. But kind of like that movie, if you're called to be awake, once you start to see the truth, you can't unsee it. You've been called out of the darkness and into the light. You can't just ignore it. That fake world may bring distraction. It may bring even pleasure, but it will never bring true happiness because you know that it's not true. And I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, but look at celebrities as a whole. How many celebrities there are, whether movie stars or rock stars or whatever. And from we do see come out in their lives depression and suicide rates that are very high. That ought to tell you that they are not happy. They are, even though they are kind of the epitome of that world. They may have distraction, they may have great pleasure, but do they have joy and peace and true happiness? Now, if those constructed things, pleasures of this world, the best alcohol, whatever artificial substances, the most beautiful women, if that stuff really made them happy, if that really made people happy, if that really fulfilled you in life, then those would be the most happy people on earth. Let me ask you, by looking at them, do they seem like the most happy people on earth? Do they seem like some of the most lost? And again, I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but don't they seem lost in that fake world? One celebrity kind of the opposite of this. You remember the show Duck Dynasty and Phil Robertson talking about happy. One of his kind of taglines that he's known for is happy, happy, happy. And he actually does seem happy. That's because he makes it a point in his life to know the truth and to put God first. Ever listen to him preach, and he preaches actual sermons. There's a man who knows truth. He puts that above the fame and the millions of dollars that he has and all that other stuff. Because he knows what's really important. So likewise, you, wake up. Wake up from that fake world. Wash off the filthiness of the culture. Wash off the filthiness of the world. As it is written, do not touch what is unclean and I will receive you. Society, culture, all that junk is just going to tell you this next shiny thing is going to make you happy. This girl is going to make you happy. Or this popularity is going to make you happy. This next shiny thing in Babylon is going to make you happy. But it's not. Look at it with a right perspective. If you're living today in the Western world, listening to this in a Western society in a modern day, most places, you likely have more or have access to more than most kings did in days of yore, than most royalty did. You know, look at most royalty in the Middle Ages. They didn't have access to hot running water at a moment's notice. You do. You can go take a hot shower pretty much any time that you want, assuming that you live on grid, which most of you do. You can just go to a grocery store and you can get things from all around the world. Foods and delicacies like a pineapple or a banana that would have been unheard of to, a medieval knight or something like that. You can go in for a few dollars, get a bottle of multivitamins. Of what a sailor with scurvy in, the Middle Ages or a couple hundred years ago would have given for that. I submit that you're probably not filled in life for lack of things, for lack of stuff. There's nothing wrong with having stuff. I like stuff. I like nice stuff. I'm blessed to have a lot of nice guns, a lot of nice firearms. I've been a professional gunfighter most of my adult life. I'm blessed to have that stuff. But what I'm telling you is to own it, to have dominion over it. Rule over it, and don't let it rule over you. That's being an alpha male. That's being a real man, is ruling over your possessions and not letting them rule over you. Rule over it. Have dominion over it, over all things in your life. Going back to culture and going back to having dominion, how about your job as a man? I think a lot of men today get caught up in the title of their job. I've been blessed to have dream jobs. I've been blessed to be, corporate management for one of the largest entertainment companies in the world, depending on how you quantify it or what mergers you count or whatever. A very large multi-billion dollar company. I've worn three-piece suits and had my name on a fancy plaque on a corporate office with all the free food I could eat and who knows how many different varieties of coffee. And you know what? I don't like wearing suits. If you like wearing a suit, that's fine. That's your thing. But I didn't like wearing a suit. I didn't like wearing a tie. I saw it as kind of tying a noose around my own neck. There's parts of that job I really liked, don't get me wrong, but parts of it I didn't. Saw a suit at the best, superfluous, and at worst a hindrance and a ridiculous outfit for anybody to wear, let alone me. I was the commander of a tactical team, but as part of my position I was also corporate management, which means I had to sit in a stuffy suit with a bunch of other men in suits at a corporate table in corporate meetings, most of the time of which could have been solved with a few short emails. And parts of that job were great, like I'm saying, but if you think the title of your job, the fanciness of your job, a fancy college degree, or whatever letters before or after your name are going to make you happy, part of my job now, I'm the general manager of a firearms and training company. My guys a lot of times mop the floor, or clean, or shovel, or whatever. And a lot of times I'll do that too. But I also have to do the bank, handle all the money. One may seem more prestigious than the other. But you know what? I'd rather be mopping the floor than counting money. That's just me. What I'm saying is, I know me. You should know you. Don't think that what the world tells you is going to make you happy or what the world tells you is a better job. Don't think that's a better job for you as a man. I think society has done a disservice to a lot of young men today, pushing them into careers that they don't want. Probably know they don't want, but they think they should want it because culture tells them they should. There's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty as a man. There's nothing wrong with being a mechanic or being a carpenter or a stonemason. The mess America's in right now where we don't make anything ourselves. We used to be a nation of men that made things, that forged things. A lot of young men would have a better life, I think, and a more fulfilled life and a more fulfilled career if they got a trade rather than picking a job based on what culture and society said was important and followed their own calling. So take heed. Be circumspect as a man, especially a young man choosing. Choose your own path. Pray and find out what God's calling you to do, not what society tells you is more prestigious. I have in life several times quit very high paying jobs and very prestigious jobs to take less prestigious and very less paying jobs. And you know what? I don't regret it. Money is not evil, but the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Most of us have enough. Don't be afraid. Most men today, especially in the Western world in America or most European nations, are not going to starve to death if you take a risk like that. Be held back by fear or anything like that. And especially don't be held back what society and culture tells you you should be doing. And don't think that if you had just a little bit more money or a little bit more this or a little bit more that, you'd be happy. Be happy now. Like I said, I don't know you, but I imagine the vast majority of people listening to this have enough. They have far more than royalty had a few hundred years ago. Don't let culture and society and the lies trick you into thinking that if you just had more, you'd be happy. Be happy now. Be an alpha male. Rule over. Have dominion over your life, over your job, over your possessions, over your thoughts and emotions. Rule over them. Have dominion over them. Wrestle with them and subdue them like an alpha male. One of the Puritan preachers, and I can't remember which one, says something to the effect of, don't let your emotions become your thoughts. Don't let what you think and what you ponder on and the thoughts that you let nest in your brain be based on your emotions. That'll give way to action. It'll give way to sin. You make your actions and your thoughts based on truth, not based on your emotions. I'm not saying emotions are bad. I'm saying if you're a man, an alpha male, you rule over them. You control them. and they're not beneficial, you ignore them and they'll go away. You want to be a man, you want to be an alpha male, you want to be in charge of other men? Start by taking charge in your own life and taking charge of your own emotions and your own thoughts. When they're beneficial, when they're healthy, when they're good, and when they're not. You beat them into submission. As an alpha male, you beat anything else, wrestle anything else into submission. How do you expect to conquer other things in life if you can't conquer your own emotions? Something so transient and taciturn, and flip it as fleeting emotions. Rule over them. Taming a thought or ignoring a thought or taming an emotion is much like taming a wild wolf. Do it when it's a cub, do it when it's a pup. The longer you feed it, the longer you let it grow bigger and bigger, the harder it's going to be to conquer it. The more you think on something and fixate on something that's not healthy and not beneficial, the harder it's going to be to conquer. Again, with your emotions, your feelings. If you can't control them and they are controlling you, are you not a slave? Are you not a slave to whatever is controlling you? You say, I can't do it, if that's what you're telling yourself right now. 1, that's a beta male move. Number 2, if you really believe that, then you're a slave. You're a slave to your feelings and a slave to your emotions. They are ruling you. If you really say you don't have control, then you're a slave. Stop being a slave. Take off your chains. Stand up. Break off the yoke and be a man. Again, stand up, have dominion, and rule over them like a man, like an alpha male. I'm not saying you can't have emotions. I'm not saying you won't have emotions. I'm saying don't let them control your life and your actions. You control your life and your actions. Based on the truth, based on God and what He says is true and what He says is right, not how you feel. Feelings change all the time. The truth doesn't change. God doesn't change. So whether you're being ruled by your emotions or by the culture or by anything else, stand up and stand out. Get up and get out of the culture, of the mess, of the lies. Remember, this world is temporary. Your citizenship is in heaven. How do you spend your time? That shows you kind of what you value as a man in life. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? You pray to God? Is it read your Bible? Is it any number of other things? Checking social media? Is it, whatever, looking at whatever? I'll show you what you value. What do you value? If heaven is eternally being with God, would He force you to be with Him for eternity if you don't even want to be with Him now? Where do you spend your time? Where do you put your effort? Where do you put your first fruits? What do you value? Is it the garbage of this culture? Or is it the truth? Is it true joy and peace and happiness? Being ruled over by lies and by culture and by what other people are saying? Are you ruling over them? Are you having dominion? If you initially clicked on this podcast thinking you were going to hear some garbage about how to hook up with women or what alcohol was best or some machismo garbage, that's not what you got. You got something better. You got a glimpse of the truth. True masculinity, true alpha males seek the truth. Not based on what culture says, not based on what society says, based on the word, the truth, God. I'm at best one pointing the way to the truth. Seek the truth. Stand up. Be a man. As it is written, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Alpha males don't get pushed into a mold. Alpha males break the mold. Stand up for the truth, for what's right and wrong, whether it's popular or not, whatever the culture says. If you do feel lost, if you do feel like you're missing something in life, if you do feel like you're confused, walking around blindly in the black swamp that is this modern culture in this world, go to the light, go to the truth. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what you want, if you don't know who you are, there's one who does, the one who made you, the one who knows the truth, the one who is the truth, the way, the truth, and the life. Go to Him. His arms are open wide. I don't know what you should be doing, but I know who does know. God knows. So repent. Repent means to turn away and to turn to. Turn away from the garbage and the lies of this culture and turn to the truth. Turn to God. So stop being a slave of emotion, of feelings, of the culture, of political correctness, of whatever other garbage. Break off those yokes and stand up upright like a man and serve one. Be a strong soldier and pledge your allegiance to the one who made you, to the truth. Strong, dominant, and in control. Again, like the one who made you, like the Creator. He made everything. He made man in his very own image. Strong, dominant, to have dominion, to rule over. So stand up, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Other men may be slaves of this world, slaves of their emotions, slaves of fear. But not you. You have not received the spirit of fear. If you are truly called, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness and into wonderful light. With that, men, I'll say thanks for listening. If you like this message, you may also like Simple Man Sermons, the preachings of a simple man called by God to share the good news of Jesus Christ. If you like guns and gunfighting, the tactical stuff, you may also like Gunfighter Life. You can check that out. You can check out more pictures, things like that, at goodshepherdtraining.com. goodshepherdtraining.com. With that, men, I'm going to say thanks for listening and have a blessed day.